That's what we're focusing on today. We've got a retired Colonel Yomi Dare, who is a former director for Army Legal Services. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much, Chamberlain.
Well, there are many who were asked straight away, is this necessary? This special committee put in place by the Army?
Well, I believe it's a right step in the right direction that they should be done, because it is expected that there should be transparency in activities of the military, because the military is sustained by the taxpayers' money, and as such, every citizen has a right to know what is happening.
Okay, but you're a lawyer, you speak about transparency, but the thing about this is that, doesn't this go against the principle of natural justice? How can you be a judge in your own matter? I say that because Amnesty International had accused them of extrajudicial killing and several other things, so they will be judging their own case in this case, wouldn't they?
Well, that's a very good one, Chamberlain. But again, I understand, because when this came up, I mean, even though I'm retired, but it's my constituency, and I'm very, very much interested in what is happening inside. You know, I asked questions. I was made to understand, and of course you can see that the membership of this special board of inquiry cuts across the board. We have both serving and retired military officers. I understand there are civil rights activists as members. There are also members of the bar and the bench. So it cuts across.
How do you expect that the outcome of the panel set by the Army, how do you expect it to come out with anything different that doesn't implicate the Nigerian Army, considering that the NHRC has also had its own report about extrajudicial attacks on innocent people, and Amnesty has also had a similar report? What's different for this one?
Well, I think it's going to make a lot of difference. A lot of difference in the sense that after every exercise, you have to sit down and do a post-mortem, and then lessons must be learned. Whether you like it or not, in any exercise or operation that involves the military, there's what you call unintended consequences of military action. Be it full combat, even peacekeeping operations, or even operations in aid of civil authorities, what we call IS, internal security. There would always be unintended consequences, and some of them have collateral damages. So you cannot take that away. Even in the most civilized armies, it happens.
Well, the Army has come out severally. As a matter of fact, we had an interview with one of the Army representatives on this show. He said that the Army has not killed anyone, and the Army doesn't kill people, but instead restores peace. Now you're talking about casualties that could be mistaken. How do we balance that out?
Well, first and foremost, you recall even how much the Army has put in with our current security situation in the country. I'm talking about the fight against insurgency, the fight against terrorism. You recall what happened at one of the IDP camps where the Air Force mistakenly, dropped the bomb. You saw what happened. I mean, no right-thinking human being would do such. It was a mistake. So we cannot take that away. Don't forget that even the military, they are human. So nobody is infallible. That's my take.
What do you make of the Amnesty report?
Amnesty? Who constitutes Amnesty? They are human beings. And you can't take it hook, line, and sinker. It's subjective, whatever report. It depends on, in most cases, which side of the divide. I'm sorry, with all due respect, you know what I'm talking about.
It says that 150 people were killed. IPOB protesters were killed in eastern Nigeria. And it says the army carried out those killings. The Amnesty International said it was able to arrive at this decision that the Nigerian army carried out these killings when it triangulates, find out what happened, and then find out two other sources that supports what happened in the first instance. They called it a triangulation to verify their findings. Do you see that perhaps the Nigerian army panel will also triangulate or even go to quadruplet it?
Well, Chamberlain,
Jimba, right?
sorry, Jimba, you've been circuitous, but okay. Notwithstanding, I'll go straight. I understand. You see, when boards are set up, they have times of reference. And from what I understand, part of the terms, or one of the terms of reference of this special board of inquiry is to travel all over. They'll go to the northeast, they'll go to the south, all the trouble spots, everywhere that there has been any allegation of violation of human rights by the army, they will visit those places. So, I want to believe that, it's not going to be an exercise in futility. I want to believe that it will be an exercise, especially looking at those who constitute the Special Board of Inquiry. I want to believe that Nigerians, everyone, will be waiting to get the results, to hear the results of this exercise.
And
I'm sure it will help.
You had said that the Board of Inquiry cuts across. You've got 7 retired civil society persons all in that board. Now the thing is, why do you think the military thought it necessary to include all of those? Isn't it because the weight of allegation against them is weighty, and then they need to validate their report at the end of the day?
Well, if I'm not going to contest that. I believe it is important because if the military authority hasn't considered such allegation to be weighty, they wouldn't go the whole hog of setting up this special board.
Even though some still wonder, how do they think they can come up with a report that will be acceptable to all, especially when you've heard the army previously deny categorically that any such thing happened. The report of Amnesty International. And then we've also heard the Chief of Army Staff talk about the fact that, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, but he was reported to have said the quest for Biafra would never materialize. So with those kind of rhetoric coming from the army, how do you think that this Board of Inquiry can come up with a report that perhaps will go against those stands from them?
Well, I'm glad you said the Chief of Army Staff was reported to have made such claims. But aside that, I hope you will not forget that one of the primary responsibility of the military is to keep Nigeria one, to protect the sovereignty of this country.
Within the rules of engagement, the laws, and all of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I ask that because, as it is now, there are those who say, no matter who they include in that special board of inquiry that they set up, as long as it's called the Special Board of Inquiry of the Army, it will be their report. So, what's wrong with having an independent body look into matters like this?
I think the Army, in my opinion, or in my understanding, is just thinking ahead or thinking outside the box.
By setting up this committee of theirs?
Of course.
Why didn't they accept several reports? I mean, the Human Rights Commission is there, they can do this report. Amnesty International is there, they can come up with this report. What's wrong with those?
But what stops the army? I mean, the army is an organization. So what stops the army in looking inwards and then, you know, doing their own thing and say, look, guys, let's put our house in order. Let's put our house in order. I don't see anything wrong in that, you know. I mean, you continue to do reviews, you continue to do reports, and then you learn lessons. You review exercises.
Okay, we'll come back to that in just a moment.
All right.
Join us again.